Good afternoon, everyone. In the 35th General Congregation of the Society of Jesus, Jesuits discussed what mission, or sending anew to frontiers, means in today's context. Our university president, Father Albers, presented these frontiers to us as writing relationships with God, faith in a postmodern world, with one another, in terms of poverty and social justice, and with creation, in terms of the environment. My task at hand is to share with you how the Loyola schools, the college-level unit of the Ateneo de Manila, engaged the third frontier of writing our relationship with creation. It is a challenging task for us, particularly in our culture, because environment questions require us to change our lifestyles and get out of our comfort zones every day. Engaging this third frontier is really an exercise in change leadership, changing mindsets, introducing initiatives, collaborating with stakeholders. From my experience, the foundation of this change leadership is the leader's commitment and passion for the impending change. On this is built vision, goals, strategy, and action. But it needs much support from the community as well as a roadmap for all. Our journey in translating the vision into action consists of developing an agenda for the environment, managing the initiatives, and sustaining the effort, all in the context of community culture and involvement. Developing an agenda for the environment was the first challenge. First, it was hardly mentioned during the 2007 Loyola Schools-wide strategic planning that involved everyone in decision-making, some 60 administrators. Second, after having taught a course in science and society for 9 years, I knew that the arguments for the environment can be compelling, but not compelling enough to rouse people out of their comfort zones or their attachment to convenience. Third, there were more serious concerns of the university that it would be hard to get other high-level administrators to prioritize support for this program. Thus, when I began as vice president, I did not launch into my environmental advocacy immediately. It was only in 2008, before I began my third year, when I decided to pursue it as one of 3 strategic thrusts for the coming year. I wanted the actual agenda developed by stakeholders, and I would provide the stamp of leadership, the occasional push, and the necessary administrative support. What would work for this community? The university, like most Jesuit universities, is steeped in tradition and a certain way of proceeding. The community is quite proud of its liberal arts foundation, thrusts of excellence and service, and a strong community spirit. The culture is also very Asian in terms of the sensitivity of people and the need for a well-respected authority figure to lead new initiatives. Any plan had to take this culture into consideration. The first step was to get a key person who has an aura of authority, can connect and involve various stakeholders, and can help put together support structures and processes. I found this person in our former director of the Office of Administrative Services, who had just retired the previous year. Ms. Lourdes Sampaio knew the community culture quite well. When to push, when to tread carefully. She had the gravitas and knew the various sectors of the university, including the office that would provide the support system. The next step was to sell the general idea to stakeholders and let them work on the goals. Under the guidance and facilitation of Ms. Sampaio, the Ateneo Environmental Management Coalition, or AEMC, was formed in May 2008. It was and is still composed of students, faculty, administrators, non-teaching staff, and cafeteria personnel who work together to protect the environment in the Loyola schools. The 35th General Congregation's take on creation provided the opportunity to put the environmental initiatives in the context of Ignatian spirituality, in the spirit of a loving response to God. We value the resources and respect the processes that have made God's continuing creation amazing. The natural cycles of our earth, harnessing of energy and light. Valuing creation means that we do not use much more than we need, that we return resources to their natural cycles whenever possible, that we live simply. The actual challenge was to minimize the resources we use and the waste we throw away, whether it be paper, plastic, metal, glass, or even energy, so that something is still left for future generations. To do these, the AEMC decided to work with 4 divisions. The Waste Audit Group sought to provide information on the waste generation of the Loyola schools to be the base for policy formation and the development and implementation of a more ecologically sound waste management system. 2 students, they're now graduates, Mr. Jerome Unidad and David Tanso, together with our environmental science faculty, Ms. Abigail Favis, led the waste audit in collaboration with the Environmental Science Society, Science and Engineering faculty, and the Office of Administrative Services. Just to give you an insight about the results, the rapid waste audit showed that 54% of the Loyola School's waste by weight is the biodegradable fraction. If we look at the volume, 64% by volume is the plastics fraction, of which 67% is polystyrene, styrofoam, and the plastic spoons and forks, and the plastic cups. So this is what we used as a base. The next group, the Research and Analysis Division, aimed to study the Loyola School's ecological footprint and look for options on segregation, composting, and material recovery. The Environmental Science Department studied the footprint, and this is the scholarly part of the research, and later on with OAS, with the Office of Administrative Services, they're still finishing the electricity and water audits. They've begun it last year. A group of students, faculty, and administrators also visited sites with various waste management programs. Information from the waste audit group showed that composting can take care of as much as 50% of our solid waste by weight, while a materials recovery facility can take care of as much as 30% of our waste. The next group, the advocacy group, promoted to all members of the Loyola Schools community an environmentally friendly lifestyle based on scientific facts, Christian stewardship, and practicality. The main movers came from our students. They were the student council people, the council of organizations of the Ateneo, with the involvement of the Office of Student Activities. They led the use of reusable packaging and segregation, such as the Bring Your Own Baunan and Clean As You Go campaigns. I'll talk a little more about this later. The Logistics and Implementation Division, led by the Office of Administrative Services and the Advocacy Group, embarked on the implementation of new guidelines on food packaging, such as the banning of styrofoam, segregation of waste, and the use of reusable tableware. There was a shift from the use of disposables to reusable wares and campaigns on bringing their own containers. Baunan is the Filipino word for the food container that comes from the house, Tupperware or something. And also the Clean As You Go campaign, which is the segregation. With the various sectors moving on their targets, it was easy enough for the school council to approve a formal environmental policy, which you see there now. This set the tone for further initiatives. But how did we translate this policy into action points? First, the AEMC provided the overall organization for initiatives. The coordinator for special projects represented the vice president, and I think up to now it will be the case, in the AEMC in setting directions and recommending approval of projects. The Office of Administrative Services was there to provide logistical support to the projects of the coalition. Let me give you some examples.